Good evening, everyone, and welcome to all of you who are joining us from Talking Films Online. TFO started during the lockdown in June 2020 by Professor Nikhila and Dr. Geeta Vishwanath. This simple idea changed into the whole community that meets every Saturday 9 p.m. on Zoom to discuss films from around the globe. This group is full of research students, film scholars, and professors and cinephile and film enthusiasts. We have had pleasure of discussing films with many filmmakers, editors, cinematographers in this session. TFO also have organized many film festivals. Each June on TFO's anniversary, we organize smartphone short film contest for students and lecture series with collaborators with universities. Tonight, we are gathered to discuss the documentary One Foot in Front of Another by Basav Biradar. Mr. Basav Biradar is a writer, filmmaker, and a film educator. His writing has appeared in leading publications in India, including The Caravan, Outlook India, National Geographic Traveler India, The Hindu, The News Minute, Film Companion, Open Magazine, Frontline India, Mint Lounge, and many more. As film researcher and critic, Mr. Basav has curated and presented a retrospective of Girish Kasarwalli and has anchored conversations on the work of filmmakers such as Girish Kasarwalli, Saeed Akhtar Mirza, G. Arvindan, and Adur Gopalakrishnan. Mr. Basav's non-fiction films have been widely screened in India. He teaches at the Srishti Manipal Institute in Bangalore. Mr. Basav had been part of selection panel at several film festivals, including Chennai International Documentary Festival and Bangalore International Film Festival. He was also invited to Berlinale 2025 to be the part of the forum expanded section of festival. A warm welcome to Mr. Basav Birdar, who is joining us for discussion today. And
Thank you.
for today's discussion of this documentary, I would like to welcome our discussion Mr. Ramchandra P.N. Mr. Ramchandra P.N. is a Mumbai-based filmmaker and 1990 FTII Pune graduate. He directs features, documentaries, shorts, and TV programs. His short fiction, Heart Troubles of Ramchandra Yavatamal Tiruchinappalli, Azamgarh, had won Best Shot at 2004 Abuja Film Festival, Nigeria. His debut feature, Shuddha, The Cleansing Rite, took Best Indian Film at 2006 Ocean Cinefan Festival of Asia and Arab Films in Delhi, and Dutch Herbert Balls grant through which screenings were held in about 100 Karnataka villages. Putani Party, The Kids Gang, won Best Children's Film at 2009 National Film Awards and was considered for Asia Pacific Screen Awards. He directed the documentary Rise and Rasam during 2011 PSBT Fellowship Program. He has led film programs in Gujarat and Hyderabad, taught at FTII and other institutes, curated festival packages, served on juries, and advised on project and script approval for various government and non-profit bodies. Welcome, Mr. Ramchandra sir.
Thank you. Uh, so shall I start? Uh,
Yes,
yeah,
please.
thank. So I'm just I've written down something. I'm going to read it out, so that becomes easier for me. And then, so here goes. Vietnamese American documentary filmmaker Trinh T. Minh Ha. I hope I've pronounced it correctly. Her name made a film in 1982 on Senegal's rural women folk called Reassemblage. She begins the film by narrating thus: I do not intend to speak about, just nearby. I would take a page out of a book to mimic her position. I do not wish to speak on or about Basav's film, one foot in front of the other, but just around it. Now, to begin with, there's a confession. I've had an opportunity to watch some of Basav's documentaries as they were being made, Before the Third Bell or In Search of Gold, and as well as this one made in 2025, One Foot in Front of the Other. I'm fairly aware of the production limitations under which his films are made, but I'll try my best not to let that influence my reflections around them. Basav's 2017 film Before the Third Bell has theatre director Abhishek Mujumdar and his fellow artists go through the unique rehearsal process of production of the play Muktidam. This period drama that the troupe had picked up deals with the politics of religion. By and large, the film quietly observes the process of drama creation as it unfolds in the present. In contrast, and on the face of it, In Search of Gold, a film that Basav followed up in 2019, dwells more on the political actions of the past. Almost in an overt expository manner, the film digs deep into the history of Kolar goldfields, blaring out the wrenching condition that the working class gold miners were being subjected to. Now, although One Foot in Front of the Other does not seem to be as overtly political, it does deal with matters pertaining to fraternity. Now, in a position of privilege, a select group of people set themselves into a collective physical endurance as they jointly participates in a 5-day-long marathon run from Bangalore to Chennai. JLBR is what they describe themselves as, in an as a matter of fact manner, jobless, long, boring runners. Each of these JLBRs are shown grappling with their own personal issues as they go about planning and executing the marathon run. Santosh is a US returned ex-IT company employee who tries to combine educational activism and conducting training programs for marathon runs so that he finds a life purpose. The ever-energetic Chandra, apart from grappling with aging issues, is also coping up with loneliness and the loss of a cancer-ridden husband. On the other hand, Kishan grew up in Punjab in the 1980s at the peak of insurgency. Although he has experienced large-scale violence around his community, it is the protection that his Hindu family had been bestowed upon by the supposedly rival Sikh community is what he acknowledges the most. Mani takes inspiration from his cancer-ridden mother, also a marathon runner, and hopes to go beyond the money-making mold that his life has been unwittingly slotted into. But One Foot in Front of the Other is about the present. The 5-day running that the jobless, long, boring runners would do. There does not seem to be any direct cause-effect relationship between the carefully planted past lives of the participants and the outcome of their actions in the present. But by this very framing, the actions in the present get a new intangible perception thrust. The present, then, also provides a basis for the possibility of a creatable future. Now, Dabbawala is a short documentary that's directed by Clement Baptista in the year 1969. The film showcases the food courier system developed indigenously in the city of Mumbai for the benefits of its office goers. This film too has the physical journey that the tiffin boxes undertake as its image. These food boxes are collected from the suburban middle-class households and delivered efficiently to their office-going members at the city's main commercial district so that they continue to partake homemade food. In the climax, the office goers are seen having lunch at their office. When they do so, they seem to be connecting not only to the journey that the lunch boxes have made that day, but also to a large chunk of other related matters. The toil of the courierman, the precision of the sorting system, the care and love displayed by the cooking family members, the considerate purchase of vegetables, and even acts of harvesting like the fishing done at the seashore. The film actively indulges in all these before even it embarks upon the journey of the tiffin boxes, giving the film image, a semblance of the whole or the entirety. Now I'll take you to another short film, The Summer Train. This is a 1961 short film made by Swedish director Jan Troell. It has a traveling train's journey as its central action. Activities of the passengers as they experience the journey are highlighted. But this is not just what the film is about. As the train passes through the rural landscape of Sweden, it brushes across and makes a difference to various elements around it. The shimmering fields, the shadowy trees, the wavy grasses, the gushing smoke from the train chimney, the crushed weeds, the withering flowers, and the terrified animals, and the curious farmers, etc. The whole of the train journey is all of this, and probably more. It is in this precise manner that references to the past can be seen in Basav's one foot in front of the another. Just as the fact that the existence of the sequence where people judiciously purchase vegetable from the market are not absolutely necessary for the completion of the action of the lunch boxes in Dabbawala, it is also not mandatory for the runners in Basav's film to be bestowed upon their past for them to complete their marathon run. And yet, in both films, the past is presenting itself, acting in an undefined manner upon the present, as well as in the future. Now, allow me to take a small detour, albeit briefly, and refer to a hitherto well-established theoretical notion called action image. Here, image is not necessarily referred to as a specific visual or sonic representation of reality, but something that is identified as a slice of life itself that is carved out of the whole, or that whole which our limited mind can conjure up with, like the one we see in the summer train or Dabbawala. Simplistically put, an action image refers to a causality chain that sees a situation exist, an action taken, and the emergence of an altered situation. For Dabbawala, it would be this: the need for home-based food for the city-based office goers, leading to the couriermen providing an action through their efficient delivery system, and in an altered situation, the office goers getting fulfilled by such actions. For one foot in front of the other, it could be this: the collective endurance levels of a group of people are put into question, for which the action taken is a 5-day marathon run, and in an altered situation, the stress is successfully endured. Now, the action of Dabbawala is happening in the present, in the sense that we actually see it unfold as the food, in its various forms, moves through various spaces, from the market to the kitchen, and to the journey that involves running by foot, in trains, on carts, in cycles, etc., before reaching various offices and settling down within the office goers. Now, how does the action image unfold itself in one foot in front of the other? Is it predominantly happening in the present, or is it in the past? As mentioned earlier, the director's 2017 film Before the Third Bell actively shows us an action image that is in the present. The process of rehearsal unfolds as and when it happens. There is, of course, the virtual image of the rehearsal process as presented mainly through verbal reflections of various stakeholders like the director, the production designer, the actors, and etc. But by and large, the structure of the film is such that it predominantly shows the image as it is happening. Overtly, the structure adopted by one foot in front of the other also lends itself to an action image that happens in the present. Now, just for a second, if we theoretically remove the past out of the equation, including the 1 week acclimatization that the runners indulge in before the actual marathon, we see that the film is constructed solely by imaging the actual event itself, that which the group is planning and executing over a period of time. Now, time occurs when there is movement, or in other words, an event. Imitating the flawless structure generated by the runners themselves, that sees time being divided into chunks. One foot in front of the other defines its own central event as the one that occurs in 5 days. This time, in turn, is further divided into 5 more subunits, allotting a day to each. Further, each day is divided into further subunits by the running team, but the film is not too keen to religiously follow and repeat these subdivisions. Now, the word time used here is in a very conventional sense, the clock time that is seen to be having an independent existence. It is probably necessary for the runners to take this subdivided, distant view as they need to physically sustain themselves in the run. The running team is also followed by the back-end team that halts itself, as well as the action of the runners at appropriate time subunits. It provides the runners with food, energy, water, and motivation. Say, for example, once in 3-4 hours or so. These time units also align themselves with specific points in space, in that a unit of time could end at such and such a place and would restart at that place. It is in these subdivided times and in these specific spaces that the back-end vehicle would halt to provide replenishment, or the runners themselves would rest for the night. In a sense, the runners have spatialized time for themselves, or vice versa. Since the film follows suit, how does it manifest itself around the subdivided time units and specific space points? In my opinion, here is where one foot in front of the other makes its most decisive choice. The camera decides primarily to embed itself with this back-end team, restricting its image making only to these pre-decided space points that come in between pre-decided time units. Therefore, it restricts itself into looking at the runners entering these subunits, showcasing their beings within them, and making them exit these subunits, barring a couple of occasions where it marginally does otherwise. Now, by natural instincts, a film that is dealing with the triumph of collective human endurance would want to image such an image endurance as and when it is occurring, if nothing else but to heighten the authenticity factor. This is especially so when the stated intent itself is to show the marathon as it is being run. But the lived experience of the collective physical endurance as it is happening at its core, that means in the states of flux between the two static endpoints of time and in between two specific predetermined space locations, is not accounted, and this is by choice. If such a lived image is not showing up in the film, despite it being available as a strong possibility, what could be the purpose of such a choice? What could be the, yeah, somebody's mic is on.
It's been muted now. You can carry on.
Thank you, thank you. If such a lived image is not showing up in the film, despite it being available as a strong possibility, what could be the purpose of such a choice? As mentioned in the beginning, I would want to discount the factors that might have been caused out of production matters, especially that of the technical difficulties that arise in capturing such images. Not that the camera did not physically move along with its runners, it did so in a very sparring sense. And not that the in-between time where all the major chunks of the action is happening is not at all reflected upon in the film. As documentaries most often do, such unfolding occur through the creation of virtual images that use verbal reflections of time that has passed in between two predetermined spaces. At the end of every day, as the runners travel in the backup car to rest at their hotels, there are mandatory sequences in which they verbalize their lived experience of the day. The experience of time passed in between two specific halting points are also reflected in the states of being of the runners when they are in break, that is, at the static replenishment points. Thus, at one static point, Santosh scolds the panting money for unnecessarily hurrying up at the last leg of the time subunit. By implication, we are virtually imaging the actions that might have happened at the last leg of that particular time unit, where Kishan could have been actually hurrying up, which you're not actually seeing. The camera, by choice, has missed the action in favor of a virtual image. An image of an image, if you may call it. What probably is let go of is that concept of duration, or durée, as the French would put it. It distinguishes itself from the mechanical passage of clock time and defines itself the time that is experienced in the present, that is lived in the present. Such lived moments captured on film provides a feel of the event, its very being or its existence. It would have probably encapsulated in itself all the past of the jobless, long, boring runners that was showcased diligently earlier in the film. And as the imaged present moments are actively lived, it could also be breathing future possibilities for the runners. I will provide two examples where this magic happens in this film, albeit within the spaces of thought. The first one is in a sequence at a hotel room in the evening, where a blister on Kishan's leg is being pricked by a needle and carefully treated by one of the support team members. The camera successfully captures the time that is lived by the characters with all its intense being, enabling us to experience such an existence. That experience time embodies in itself Kishan's past that has seen him struggle to exert his body in the past few days, along with his support team. The sequence also embodies Kishan's efforts to find a larger meaning to his life by the virtue of its mere perceptive insertion into the structure of the film at a preceding points, juxtaposition by succession. Not only that, the grit and the determination that Kishan manifests in the sequence, despite the pain, also projects an image of the future, the possibility of the completion of the marathon run. The second example is similar is the image of Chandra that also occurs in the hotel room on the last day. The sequence might have happened in the wee hours of the morning, but conventional clock time is transcended. It does not matter here anymore. She looks at the camera and with an extremely tired smile, she has a conversation with the director. She feels nice to have actually run the marathon till that point that it is presently in. There is extreme weariness of the body, but there is also Chennai to be conquered. Within that encounter that Chandra has with the director lies all of Chandra's past, the body that has been giving away for the past 4 days, and her team's support regarding that. Her age-related lamentations, her husband's cancer battle, her encounter with loneliness, etc. It also encompasses what could she possibly be in the future, not just in the completion of the marathon, but also what could it mean to her life itself. In short, this short sequence, although technically out of focus and thus deemed flawed in a normal observation, actually encompasses the entirety of her life. Now, this phrase entirety brings back the concept of the whole, or the whole that we in our limited capacity know of. How does this whole occur in one foot in front of the other? For one, as mentioned, the marathon run per se is revealing itself as a large part of the whole, albeit selectively. And then the participants' past life shadow the run gracefully in a non-causal manner. Thirdly, the support team that operates around the operators, by their passing functional mention, might not have qualitatively added much to the whole of the film image, except perhaps in invoking the perception of their existence. Now, other elements around the marathon run, like the morning tea stall vendor, the early morning tea stall vendor, the flag holding workers who guides vehicles to his roadside restaurant, the daily laborers briefly seen in the morning walking presumably to work, the bikers riding on wrong side, the dangerous trucks, the possible accidents, etc., etc. All these are fleetingly seen or sensed. These are all part of the whole of the marathon run, but by choice, they too do not significantly contribute to the image of the marathon in the film. Now, last but not the least, the wholeness of the run is not complete in the film without the participation of the filmmaker. From a distant position of an observer, he is progressively seen to be getting involved in the run in as much as eliciting responses, goading the participants into actions, or even joking around with them. This apart, the intensity or the level of the observer's stake in the film is not revealed much. It would seem that the camera, in all its aloofness, has been identifying itself with the support team. And when we realize that the support team itself has less of an agency within the body of the film, we begin to realize the contours of the position that the film takes towards its image. In the preface of theatre director B.V. Karan's autobiography, Illiralare Allige Hogalare, compiled by writer Vaidehi, a line goes something to this effect. An image of a person comprises of what he or she says about himself or herself, as well as what others say about him or her. Now, by choice, one foot in front of the other has only the runners to represent themselves. I say this not as a qualitative comment on the film, nor on the inspiring effort of the runners themselves, but as a matter of fact manner of any JBFB, jobless, boring film buff, acknowledging Deleuze and through him Bergson, whose work I'm yet to fully comprehend in my practice. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ramchandra sir, for your elaborative and beautiful discussions. The panel is open now for discussions and insights. Anyone who want to share their opinion or questions?
Yeah, before that, I just want to say that this is a very insightful close reading, and this also sort of, helps us understand why close reading of films is important without being, without feeling the pressure to pass a verdict like usual film reviews do, right? So Ramchandra's presentation really opens up, provides us some theoretical underpinnings with the ideas of action image, virtual image, lived time, all these, and also places the film in a context to which triggers multiple conversations around the film. So thank you, sir, for this great and very insightful close reading. I was actually remembering Kayer's Do Cinema kind of close readings where they would read a regular film for 100 pages. So like that, I feel honored that you are able to see so much in this film. Thank you. Yeah.
Can I come in, Rudra?
Yes, please, ma'am.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you, Basav, for making this film available, especially for TFO. And of course, thank you also for your long association with us. Thank you very much, Ramchandra. Indeed, what Basav says is absolutely true. It has been such an insightful reading of the film. What struck me mainly about the film was I thought it was a kind of study of relationality. Generally documentaries have this a kind of a voiceover commentary, and that is something that this film eschews, and rather it shows how all the people in this documentary exist in relation not only to each other, but also to their relation to space is very crucial for this kind of a narrative, and their relation to the camera. So this was something that I found very interesting, and of course it is so much about bonding and friendship, and one could see that coming across very clearly throughout the film. So these are some of the things that kind of struck me as I was watching it.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Anyone else?
If I may come in. Basav, thanks for making this wonderful film. And Ramchandra, great. I mean, it was such an insightful reading. I mean, gave us so many insights into not just reading this film, but generally reading films itself. I quite enjoyed the documentary, and it reminded me so much of your earlier documentary. The process, for instance, the collaboration, the kind of meaning making that comes through collaboration, through collaborative work. So meaning making, not just in terms of meaning for the documentary, but also meaning for each other. I mean, so for their lives and so on. So it was really such a profoundly engaging and also um, I mean, it's such a different kind of a social life that you capture. My first thought was, I mean, whose initiative was it, to decide to make a film on this? Was it the runners, who wanted to document, their running, and so they asked you to do it? Or did you think that this film has some kind of a potential for, like the previous one before the third bell had? So there is potential here to document a process, but also something more than that. A different kind of a social emerging, which is not I mean, it's an ephemeral social. It's something that will, dissipate, go away, but also something that endures. There is something that everyone will take, from it. So I was just wondering on, whether you would like to reflect, Basav, on how this absolutely came about, this process. And I also had another question with regard to the ending of the documentary, where we are told that there was fundraising. So I was just wondering, were the runners interacting with people? We don't seem to have, too many shots of what they are doing. I mean, they're interacting with each other, of course, but are people stopping them, asking them, "Oh, why are you running like this?" So all that, what was it like, and how did this whole idea of making it, like a fundraising run also happen? Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'll just respond to the questions you asked. Firstly, I think for me, the runners had no clue about the film, and they were not really interested in any of it. It was just and that too something which I decided at the very last minute to just tag along and see what happens. I think my curiosity was to uh, see what running as friends and as this community idea is, because usually we see marathon running as positioned as a very individual sport, like the legendary film The Loneliness of the Long Distance Runner and all those kind of narratives. And also sports films generally tend to be very focused on aesthetics of individual bodies and endurance, etc. So I was curious to see if I can do something which is different than that, and to focus on the collective idea of because I feel in India and many other places nowadays, this marathon running is seen as this very, for lack of better phrasing, LinkedIn kind of achievement, so to say that I did this sort of idea. So that way I felt that their idea of not really, and it was not an organized race. So it was also the curiosity that why would you do it if somebody is not putting a medal on you? Because people usually run these races if they're going to get some gratification in some way, some recognition, photos, etc. They didn't seem to have any of those goals. So I felt that that in itself is a very political act, in the sense that we are living in deeply polarized times, and people are, it's very difficult to get together, even get along with, someone else if there are differences, whatever it may be, social difference, physical difference, or any other kind of differences. So I felt that I wanted to really see if they mean what they do, what they say, sort of. So that was revealing for me. I think my idea was to see, and I felt that this is a very political thing to do in a very hyper capitalistic kind of world where reward is the only thing which will make someone do something, an individual reward. So that way I felt uh, going against that itself is something exemplary, and also sort of proposes a certain kind of social, like you said, which you can bring people together of differences. That's why I felt it was necessary to bring their past in to show their difference. They come from very different backgrounds and ideologies too. So sort of to so how they can still find something in each other was the idea. So that's why I went along. Of course, because of that, like Ramchandra mentioned, the production means were very minimal because I was the only guy sort of doing it with the help of some of the people who came along to support the runners, who I had to trouble to say, please, can you, help me with this. So it became in a way, the filmmaking also became a collective affair, although I was the only one from a film crew perspective by definition. Um, um, the second question you asked about was, sorry, I forgot.
The last where fundraising.
Yeah. I think, I mean, that's something I was very confused about. This film went to multiple edits actually to say, so it took some time to get to what it is actually can be. And they were, I mean, they are people who keep raising funds to run for schools which they support. So yes, on the run, they, of course, it was very amusing because many people would stop them and say, why are you doing this? And, some people I think even suggested that you can go by bus or something, you don't have to go all the way to, because they were also running on a highway, right? A very unlike place for running. So people thought they were actually running to reach something, so they didn't understand. So that was, so it was amusing, many such interactions, of course. And of course, the presence of such bodies on a place like highway itself is very, it's a visible difference, right? So obviously they caught the eyes of many people, and which led to some amusing conversation. I had some footage of all that, but I somehow felt it would just didn't fit in the edit. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else?
Um, Hello.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Yeah. I mean, I saw the film. I also liked it immensely. It's a very candid style, and all the uh, responses have been very meaningful because initially, Ramchandra did a good job, of layering it for us. How it is observational. At the same time, you have the element of time, Dury. And I think Geeta expanded on that further because of the relationality, or, it's more about a constellation of people. And it is creating, within the relationship, both in terms of, their lived, life histories, and, the walk. So I think that's also a very important, aesthetic. And Nikhila's question also came to my mind, what prompted this film? Of course, I got these answers, from Basav. But this thought came to my mind because I have to also tell you here one thing, that, that this was something which is very unique because Basav told me that because of his, affinity for running, he had developed actually, problems on his knees. And this was not, like what he was supposed to do, if you go from the advice of his doctors. So then it prompts this question even more, this extra textual information, that why did he do it? So I think that there is also a philosophical answer, if you look at, this film, that how walking has been invoked, as this kind of space of solace, which, is part of all of our lives. When we have walked out of a rabid discussion for a walk, because we couldn't, appreciate, the responses, or even, after an interview, we wanted this, because it offers, a kind of solace. I think, that long walks are an extension of it. And for us as filmmakers, Herzog is a classic example. In the 70s, when I was at FTI, we had seen this, a long walk from Munich to Paris of 20, 21 days in that extreme cold, walking on ice, to meet his mentor. And then when the digital came in 2020, he goes to meet, goes to all the places, of his icon, Bruce Chatwin. So walking, he has written a lot on that, and you can know, from not only him, from even somebody like Deleuze, that how it is a great space, for solace. So that also comes through in the film because of, the way he goes about, covering them, and there is the languid element, and there is also the meticulous element in terms of editing, positing all the narratives, juxtaposing. Um, so that's what, I wanted to share. It's more of a comment, and congratulations to Basav, than a question. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Anyone else would like to share something or any question?
May I?
Yes, please.
First of all, I want to thank Ramachandra sir for such a wonderful discussion, and Basav sir, that's a very beautiful film. I also have a question regarding the ending of the film. Sir, it could have easily ended the film with them reaching the beach and finally the run ended, but you stretched it with the final meal together, everyone at the end. Do you want to bring everyone who are like more or less associated with the run together? That's why you did it, or is there any other intention?
Yeah, I mean, I think my intention was to show them as ordinary. I think as not as extraordinary as they themselves talk about the running itself. That if you practice, anyone can run. It's not some superhero stuff. They say at some point in the film, and I think that was a very interesting concept for me also. So I think if I had stopped, I felt that if we stopped the film at the beach sequence, and it would have become this, chariots of fire kind of, ending with a triumphant runner. So I wanted to stretch it to show, also them, indulging in drinking and having fun as ordinary people. Not so, that also was, something, some people asked when we were editing that, would you really want to show liquor, for example, in a running film, because that goes against the idea of what a sportsman is, and that Djokovic kind of eating, very precisely, and all that kind of thing. So like I said, I wanted to make a very unsporty kind of sport film. So that's why that I felt that epilogue was important to again ground them as ordinary people, friends who do it just because of friendship. There is no real sort of idea of achieving something beyond capability or something. So I think that was the idea, to bring back the ordinariness immediately after a very triumphant kind of sequence of finishing the run. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Anyone else? Miss Fabian or Tekeshwar sir, Sarkeshwar sir? Sir, I have one question. Uh, as you were filming the documentary and you have said that you were the only one in the crew, so what difficulty you have faced when you were filming the documentary? Like they were running in the on the highway, and you were the only one. So what difficulty you faced with camera and all?
Yeah, I mean, if you go to any film person, so filmmaking crew person to say that, this is how I want to make the film, they would have said no, obviously, because there is, capturing sound on a highway, for example, is a disaster. So the location, and if you're one person, obviously, are you handling sound? Are you handling camera? So these kind of any sound location sound recorder person will say, and they have told me when I showed them later that it's such a bad idea. Why don't you guys use a sound recorder? What is this, sort of a thing, right? I think that's the difficulty is, of course, mainly in sound. I would say camera is fine because you can still handle it, but to manage both camera and sound as one person is very, very difficult. So that was complicated, especially with the highway sounds. There was a lot of highway trucks and all this, and wind and so many things going on. So we had to play around a little bit with the location sound and the talking itself on highways. How do you capture it? So
Yeah.
uh, so those kind of challenges were there and you had to also, since it's live action and it's moving on. I mean, it's not, you can't do a retake, for example, like in a fiction. You obviously have no chance to make them repeat, especially when they are running so hard, and any intrusion beyond a certain point would, they would have beaten me, right? Obviously, saying get out of here, sort of a thing. So because they're already tired and mentally exhausted, and then you're saying, say that again on camera, kind of a thing. So I had no, those were the difficulty. You cannot make them do or say anything, and also be almost, present, but also in a sense absent, in the sense that not make them feel that my shot is the main thing, and that they can, they have to. So it was more like I had to play according to whatever they were doing, instead of, usually in filmmaking, the camera and everything takes precedence, but here it was like action was the precedence, and camera has to just capture whatever it can. So that way, I think this kind of filming is, those are the kind of issues to deal with. Yeah. And I
Thank you,
had
sir.
no idea of what kind of landscape, because I had not really traced this route beforehand to see how it will be and where to take a shot, etc. So there was that uncertainty of where you will be filming it at all. So yeah,
Thank you, sir.
thank you.
Anyone else want to ask any question? Please ask.
Yeah, this is Sharath here. So it's not a question. I just
Yes,
wanted
please.
to say a few things because uh, I don't belong to this club actually, to be honest, and I'm not into films much. But I'm part of this whole run in terms of I'm one of the support team member crew who are supporting this runner. But what I want to tell is the effort that Basav has put in making this documentary, because all the 4 or 5 days that run was happening, I was with runners as well as observing Basav also, and it's not an easy task, right? And this is the month of November when it happened, and the weather kind of morning it's to be very cold as sun comes up, and also first day I see one side runners were struggling, and on the other side Basav was documenting or capturing them on his camera. And from second day onwards, weather turned into morning is to be cold, and afternoon when sun comes up, it is to be really hot. And on the highway where there are no trees and all, you are chasing these runners, and bus was continuously documenting their runs and all that. And certain days where they were starting at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, Bus was making sure that he gets up in the morning. I know he's not a morning person, but all those 5 days, he made sure that he gets up and capture the start point. And like Ramchandra sir was talking about that time frame and all, no, it was important. And thanks for Ramchandra sir for providing that analysis, because I watched this documentary already twice. But some of the points that he mentioned there, I mean, as I said, I'm not a film critic, and those kind of reviews can come actually what a comments Ramchandra made. I think it actually supports the effort that Basav has put here. And I think I was glad that I was part of this team which supported the runners, and also I had this wonderful opportunity of somebody making a documentary like this. So I just wanted to put my comments. That's all, not a question.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your insight.
Yeah, thank you for the help with the making of the film also, Sharath. Yeah, and thank you for attending this. Yeah.
No problem, Basav.
So, anyone else has any question to ask or insight to share?
I quite enjoyed the fact that we remain in the liminal space of the highway. And there's this really. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, please. Yes, please, ma'am.
I said I quite enjoyed that we remain in the liminal space of the highway. And we're sort of trapped as the runners seem to be moving along, and there's a nice tension between the speed of the vehicles and the speed of the runners. And I wondered if you had, was that a conscious decision? You decided, because we don't see them running in any other location. We are kept on the highway, and I wondered how you came to decide to do it that way.
Yeah, I mean, since they were running on the highway, obviously their action was particularly on the highway. I was tempted, and I also filmed some shots off highway. I think even but then when we were making the film, I think, like you said, we thought that it was we, as in my editor and me, and we thought that it would be a good idea to also sort of let the action of the film also not deviate from the highway. I mean, we didn't know if it can be read as liminal space, but thank you for that, Anita. And so that was the idea, to sort of constrain the film within the as per the of course, apart from those hotel sequences which are obviously off highway, but also I think it was an idea of sort of trying to see if it can have the aesthetic of a road film, if I can say, in a sense. So that there was also a temptation to do that. And we had actually long takes of just, on road, empty roads. And of course, a lot of it we couldn't include because of how the final rhythm of the film became. But so there was that temptation to see if it can be structured as a road film with along with these four runners. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else?
Tarakeshwar sir, did you get a chance to think about?
Yeah, I watched the movie and I enjoyed it. It also kind of, as you said, why are they running? What is the purpose of it? Of course, as you say, the process is more important, and the process itself becomes the purpose. And interestingly, the way you're weaving the past and the present act of some of these characters was quite interesting. And everybody is in search of something in their life, either as an alternative to what they were doing, or a kind of break from it, or as an alternative to it. Oh, that was quite interesting. So it is not simply a running, it's a process through which they are discovering or searching. And interestingly, when we ask the question, why are they doing it? We don't ask ourselves, why are we doing what we are doing? We are also submitted to a certain kind of process. And if you ask the question of what is the meaning of it, why are we doing it? The answer would be the similar. we are also searching and trying to discover ourselves for what we are doing, and they have their own way of teaching. In that sense, this banal, what you call a sports genre activity, becomes a kind of spiritual exercise for those characters. And when it is a spiritual exercise for them, and that process makes us reflect on ourselves, and at that level, it becomes a kind of spiritual um, exercise to watch this movie. So, in that sense, a banal sports activity could be elevated to the level of uh, trying to find a meaning in our own lives, uh, and trying and becoming a kind of spiritual activity was quite an interesting experience for me. So again, saying that what is the destination we don't know, but the process is more important than the destination is something I learned through this narrative. And thank you very much for this film. And I also thank the Ramchandran for his uh, what I would say illuminating discussion in the beginning. Thank you. Thanks to both of you.
Yeah, thank you. Ramchandra sir, do you want to respond to any of it, any of the comments till now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, more or less I agree with what all of them are saying. It's sir, I said like it's almost becomes a spiritual. Those two shots that I spoke about, I mean, it had this transcending quality, spiritual. I mean, quality to that. It's no longer about running. Actually, it's about something else. So that I think um, more or less, yeah, it's in tune with what I've been thinking.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and I also think that some of the things they vocalize during their interactions is what sort of forces us to reflect on what we are doing, like Tarakeshwar said. So that is very like the money's thing about his mother and talk about money and all those kind of that so directly I was even while interviewing I was like, wow, this is something is even making me think of this film itself and not in terms of okay whether it will be watched by people, whether it'll make any money out of it, or those kind of questions. Suddenly it makes you reflect. I thought, yeah, thank you for uh, saying that. Yeah,
All this past that you speak about and deliver, I think it's very aptly placed where they are placed, and they make the film. Actually, they make the film. As I told, it's nothing to do whether they reach Chennai or not reach Chennai. It's nothing to
yeah,
do.
yeah,
But this is what, and the fact that they reach Chennai, the possibility is there, and the possibility is there. I mean, that I think gives an edge to the film that you're dealing and with the past also, which is actively there in the present. It is there in the present, the past, and the two shots that is. There are other shots also, but the two shots that immediately comes to my mind is these two shots.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, correct. And credit to my editor also for thinking about where to place what and the numerous debates and arguments we keep having while editing a film. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for sharing. Anyone else has any questions? Uh, yes, Rita, sir. Do you want to share anything?
No, nothing. So I watched it, and I still it is standing in my thought. So nothing concrete. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Anyone else?
I was just wondering if Basav has exhibited his film. What is it like now? Where are you taking it? And what? I mean, have you made money of it or not yet?
Yeah, absolutely not. But I think one of the I realized after making this film that it's a kind of film which won't be on the radar of film festivals also, because we are in a sort of living in a time where the political and socially important matters take precedence over this kind of film, I would say. So the festivals tend to focus on those kind of films. So I haven't really submitted anywhere to festivals also, except for I think one or two which are yet to be decided. But I felt that was one of the exercise of also, I guess, screening it. Once we screened publicly in Bangalore, which had a great response. Surprisingly, we had about 120 people coming to watch it on a Sunday. So it was great. So that way, whoever has seen it, there has been good reception. But I don't know where to. Somehow, every time I make a film, if this question comes, why am I making it? Because I don't know where to put it or what to do with it. So it's a little bit of a complicated relationship between making and exhibiting for documentary filmmakers, I think, because we don't know where to take the film and how to find avenues for such a film, which is, I mean, you will have to do a close reading to sort of get anything out of it, rather than say there, because if a film is about violence or something, or then it's a little more urgent and easily catches the eye. So I don't know. I also think that the idea of documentary today has shifted quite a bit. On one end, there is this whole Netflix kind of documentary which is looking at true crime and sensational stories about, crime. And then we have, on the other hand, we have this super artsy, expensive documentaries like, All That Breathes, etc., which is sort of having and which requires a lot more. And what is it, taking the film, a lot more investment of time and effort to take the film to foreign producers, foreign this one, and try to find something out of it, and also cater to some of the demands of those kind of festivals and organizations. So I mean, I like, maybe people like Ramchandra and Swarnamel can comment more, but I feel like this whole post 2000s documentary world in India is very, very, or 2010, post 2010, let me say, so that it's a very, very precarious compared to, say, the FD world, where you could still make such a film and somehow get some exhibition or producers for such a film. I mean, that's my question about the films. Yeah.
So it's absolutely valid observation. The best thing I liked about this film is this is a grounded film, in the sense that this is coming out of the necessity of the runners. You know? I mean, you could have some necessity of your own, but that apart. But this is coming from the ground. You know, this is not a film that has been pitched to a foreign pitching agency, you know, and then they mentor you to make a film according for their audience. You know? It's not that kind of film, and therefore the opening up of the film festivals abroad opens up for you. And this is not that kind of a film, and therefore I can understand your situation. And this is grounded, and it is not catering to that festival circuit. You know, it's that circuit that other films that you talk about are mentored that. And but the best part of the film is this is grounded. It's um, uh, ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ, that kind of a thing, you know. So excuse me for my Kannada. Um, but that's the best part. Yeah, but yeah, shifting documentary, and this is how films are made post 2014, to 2010, much earlier also. You know, this is how films are being made, and yeah, exhibition is always, where do you show your film? You know? I mean, algorithms also is not. We have not mastered algorithms to figure it out. Yeah, that's a struggle.
Yeah, even if you put on YouTube, it's a struggle because of the algorithms and it doesn't get noticed, you
Yeah.
know. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that's my answer to Nikhila's question, I think. Yeah. So it's great that I would say that in that context, it's great that at least forums like Talking Films Online are there, where I'm assuming or hoping at least 50 plus people would have watched the film. So so uh, thank you for having such a forum where we can screen such films and talk about it for so long. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Anyone else? You want to share any insights? If there are no any questions or insight, then we would like to conclude today's session. Thank you so much for every participants, and thank you so much again, Ramchandra sir and Basav sir, for this beautiful session, especially for this beautiful film. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you all.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you for all of you for participating. Thank you so much.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Great.
Basav.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Ramchandra.
Basav. Thank you,
Thank
Ramchandra
you.
sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah.
Good
Geeta,
night.
Thank you.
Nikhila, Karkeshwar, all friends. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Swarnavel. Thanks for joining.
See you
Thank
next
you.
week.
Yes.
Thank you.
Mm.